So I started with shamanism probably 7 or 8 years ago. I'm trained in core shamanism, and I did the FSS program, the 3 years of advanced shamanism practices, where I had a lot of initiations. And with my beloved Eva, we are creating Alchemy of Worlds, because we really want to create bridges between shamanism and our times. It's something that is really, really important for me, is about all the practices, energetics and everything is okay, but what is the point in our world, how it benefits you in your life, your day-to-day life? And I ask myself that question all the time. So I think I want to have very practical also spiritual life. So that's why we're here, and thank you for joining the first. Eva, do you want to introduce yourself?
Thank you, Claire. Yeah, I'm Eva Weaver. I'm in the south of England at the moment, in Phoenix Nest, my home. And yeah, I wear many hats. I'm a writer and also a shamanic practitioner, as well as a body worker. And more recently, or not so recent, past 7 years or so, I've been working with what I call snake medicine. So what we can learn from the snakes and the symbolism of the great serpent. And rites of passage, so times of transition, really has been a passion of mine for many, many years, to support people through times of transition. And yeah, like Claire said, you know, for me, the spiritual only really truly matters when we can connect it with our everyday life. And that's part of our passion also with Alchemy of Worlds. So, and we thought today we'll start with the theme of rites of passage, what they are, and why today, and why we feel passionate about, and what they can offer us in this time. But just to give you the lay of the land of this hour we have. So in a moment, we'll just do a little landing together in the body, and then we'll go into our conversation. So first, Claire and I will talk about the subject, and then after a while, we'll open the floor and you can ask any questions. And yeah, hope to have a really juicy conversation together. So I invite you just to keep that quite short, but have a soft gaze or close your eyes for a moment, and maybe put a hand somewhere on your body. And let's take a few breaths together. Maybe a little deeper than usual, a little fuller. And just let yourself land here. Breath is our beautiful life force energy. We can energize ourselves breathing in and letting go anything that doesn't serve us. And we breathe out. You feel your sit bones. Feel how gravity holds you, supports you. Maybe you lean back, feeling the support there. Just letting go of this day as it has been and what's to come. And let's drop in to these conversations. So, rites of passage, Claire, What's that all about?
Yeah, so the first thing is we wanted to give a definition of what is rite of passage. And it's not only because I'm French, it's also just to have the same the same understanding of what it means. So I mean, we looked on the Google and we looked on the dictionary, and the rite of passage are ceremonies or events that mark a significant transition in a person's life, such as birth, puberty, marriage, or death, often involving ritual and symbolic activities to signify leaving one life stage and entering another. So these rituals, common across many culture and religion, help an individual change in social status and often involve a period of separation, a transitional in-between phase, and finally a reintegration into the new social group with new responsibility and identity. So that definition, which is very clear for all of us, we know those moments in life. We have probably we heard also those stories more in for the past generation when they had lots of party or in they invite the whole family when they were all living all together, or we also have recognition of those moments in life from other tribes or people in the world. But right now in our world, we don't do a lot. I mean, when you have a birth in your family, you just receive a note to send a check or to send some money. Well, it's a bit like that with the wedding too. You just have a party. It's all those moments in life have been taken like by the yeah, I would say it's like the business or some moment when you can spend a bit of money. So I'm a bit cynical here, but we lost something. When we see that definition, we can see that it's not really what happened right now. So we all agree about what it is, but it's like it's something from the past or it's something from another culture.
Mm.
And so why Eva, why can you explain perhaps why it was important?
Yeah, I feel that, a rite of passage is a time where we really take a time out of the everyday. So we have that separation, we step into a space, a held space, ideally, whether that's by community or friends or a ceremonial guide or shamanic practitioner. But we go into that because we're really in this liminal space. And the liminal space, I mean, I see everything through the snake medicine lens, but when a snake goes into the process of shedding, snake can't see, is almost blind. And so are we often in these in-between spaces. So why we're going into a ceremony, a rite of passage, is to gain clarity, to gain guidance, direction, and ultimately to have a vision. Most of us have heard of a vision quest, which is again a rite of passage that many traditional cultures have. So yeah, we wanting to gain vision again, but also it's really to honor and mark space for these important transitions. Like you mentioned a few. I'm also thinking, what is it like now? Beloved next of kin, a friend dies, and if we're employed somewhere, we're expected to go back to work after a few days, right? And so to go into a rite of passage. It's really honoring the importance of that transition. And so I feel ultimately a rite of passage is a place where we can attend to our soul path, right? And really say, okay, what's happening here? We're not just gonna step over it and go to the next thing, but we're honoring that. It's part of our soul path, our soul evolution.
Mm.
And
If I may, there is something about what you say also, is that the surrounding acknowledge that moment.
exactly.
Because I'm thinking of menopause, for instance. You were saying, yeah, when you go back to work or something like that. I mean, it's a big step in the woman's life, but
Yes.
nobody talk about that, and nobody. I mean, you just have to continue your life. And I mean, I'm not sure about andropause, but I don't know if you have the same sign or same things. But I mean, that's the thing. We don't honor that moment, and the people outside, they don't care because they don't know.
Yeah, very, very true. And the other thing I think that's really powerful about a rite of passage is that it's a ceremony or ritual that's usually hugely physical. So it's something where we become again, or we stay, or we reclaim some embodiment, because often in these times of transition, say, a death, illness, a breakdown of relationship, or a beginning, or a marriage, these are all really heightened emotional times. And often what can happen, it's all too much for our nervous system, and we numb out or we disassociate. And so it's interesting that all rites of passage, when I reflect on it, whether it's a vision quest, or you fast, or firewalk, or any plant medicine ceremony, it's all very physical. And
Mm.
so as we move through that, yeah.
Yeah, it's like reprogramming ourselves. It's like changing from the inside also. There's something about that, the ritual. I mean, you mentioned teach the body how to react or how to be another self. It doesn't go into the mind. It goes into the mind after, but it's like that reprogrammation of your body first.
Yes, because we know, the older I get, I think, and the wiser we become, we know that will and our minds, they just go that far.
Mm,
And also I think these times of change, they put us in touch with the mystery of life.
mm, mm.
Really, there's the everyday life, and then boom, something comes along, or boom, like within menopause, but we're shaken up. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Or illness or anything, we're shaken up. And so I feel in all of that there's always an opportunity and an invitation. It's a rupture, right?
yeah,
and
exactly.
and that's where rite of passage comes in. And do we take it, or society doesn't want us to mark these times, because I think there's power in that as well. And that's another thing about rite of passage. Ultimately, they put us in touch again with our power, right?
Yeah, yeah, but they want us to know that it exists because there's the business around, but there is no I mean, it's not sacred anymore.
Yeah.
And yeah, so um yeah, you already said more about the fact that it's really, I mean, the formula. Perhaps because
Yeah.
everything you said exactly the steps, but I like that there's a formula for
Yeah,
a
I
rite
think
of passage.
that's right. I
I
think
mean, we call alchemists. We love formulas.
it's true. Yeah, and we like often three phases as well, or four phases. So
Yeah.
I think when you look at it, every rite of passage has a form of what we can call a separation. So it's a separation from the everyday. We have to step out of our everyday. And whether that's going to an intensive immersion or a retreat, or whether it's literally going on a vision quest for 10 days, or whatever it is, we separate from our everyday. And with that also sometimes from from our family, beloveds, our surroundings. And we step into this transitional liminal space. So it's like stepping into this space of the unknown, and it's a ritual space, it's a ceremonial space, right? And everything that the actual rite happens in there, whether we sit alone on a mountain fasting for 4 days, whether we're walking the fire, we're in a ceremony, everything happens in there, and we cannot know in the beginning how we come out the other end, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's transitional. We come across this, we step over a threshold in that space. So that's the second. And then the third and or fourth, we can put that together, is the integration. So we come out the other end, and traditionally, and also with rituals we create or that we find nowadays, there is community, there's witnessing on the other end, and there's sharing of the experience and welcoming, whether you come down from the mountain or
And while you're saying that, and also the embodiment part, that's I mean, I really see in the Firewalk all those steps, or with the vision quest, all those steps. Every time you have all those steps, and I love very much that we bring also the community, because the witnessing is so important. I mean, we miss so much recognition right now, and also um, compassion. That's so important right now. And so that makes me, sorry.
And for me, it is this huge difference that a rite of passage brings. It breaks the isolation, right? Because it's a human condition. We're going through intense times of change. Life is perpetual change. That's the one thing we know about life. And if we're going alone through these times, it's incredibly difficult often, and it's also not as growthful, I feel, and it's not as helpful for the evolution. And so the communal aspect is hugely important.
It's I feel that also. And so we ask ourselves also, why is it important for us now to speak about that?
Why about?
And I think, I mean, we all agree that the current time is full of uncertainty, full of transition, and clearly lack of guidance and faith, I would say. So, as you said earlier, the humans that we don't honor our steps and the transition and everything. But then it creates so much isolation, so much, even like the burnout or things like that, because it's the consequences of that society. I mean, the Western society. We don't live in community, we live alone, we have a separation of the generations. We have, we a bit lost also between all those transitions. We have more and more divorce. I mean, there's so many explanation of for the reason why it's important to bring that now. It's like people, they don't have any more faith into the spiritual. And in the same times, there is that movement that we can see that rise with a lot of people looking for more spiritual life and doing more shamanism or energetic or I mean anything. So I think that's really why rite of passage are so important now, and I think it's a good thing that we can bring that in our way with the tool we have right now. And also I feel that it also makes a link between us and as I said, the ancestors, but it's also, I mean, it's timely, and it's also from everywhere, so that there's that link also from now to the world. I mean, from here to the world, and from now to the past. What do you think about that?
Yeah, very, very true. And when you speak about this, one thing I'm thinking, what I attended recently and what what warms my heart, that's coming more and more to the front, are the community grief tending rituals. Yeah,
Yeah
I think
yeah
that's such a beautiful example of in a way a rite of passage. I mean, grieving in so many cultures never been just a solo thing that people went through alone, or that was just the inner circle.
yeah
But yeah, and the power of that being held in community, and again to have that structure of stepping into a space like that, attending to grief, but doing that in a communal space and being welcomed at the other
mm,
side, you know.
mm.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's really true. That's really true. And so I guess also that we are also passionate about that because we've been through some and we've seen how it was and we experienced that from the inside,
Mm.
and that's the reason I guess we want to share. I mean, it's so much easier to share something we already experienced.
Yeah, for instance, I mean, in my life, I mean, I did a quite traditional rite of passage when I was turning 50. I took a 10-day vision quest with a beautiful guide in Snowdonia in Wales. Um, and it's literally that stepping, that separating into a space, but then also the preparation there, and then spending 4 days and 4 nights alone on the mountains with only water and shelter, and yeah, really praying for a vision and looking at my life, and then returning, being welcomed back by that group that vision quested with me, and then sharing, and it
Mm,
was hugely powerful, and it did change my life. I mean, my life changed completely after that, and in that next year, and that's what they often say, that such a rite of passage can also sometimes be a portal, a first entry, and the integration of this might last much longer. Like
yeah,
this
it's really what,
the beginning, but then
yeah,
the integration and the unfolding of it, like with a medicine plant journey,
exactly, that's
can
what
take.
I wanted to say. Yeah.
You go. Yeah.
No, I was just saying that exactly what you're saying. It's what we experience with the plant medicine also. I mean, it's in our body for months, and as we say, the medicines continue to work, and that's also the thing with strong rite of passage. And I would say that the strongest the medicine is, the strongest the container shall be.
And the longer the integration might be.
Yeah, exactly.
The more
But that's also very important because I mean, you know how much it's important for me to always be very aware of the safety or
Sure.
psychological safety of people. I mean, I'm not a therapist like you, and so I don't know why I have always that in my mind. Oh, that's not true. I know it's my gate 36 in my HD, but
But it's
but
so important, you know,
yeah, for me
a
it's
really
crucial.
strong container.
And I mean, when we hold a firewalk, I mean, there's so much fear, but that's also, I mean, that's also the fear. Like when you go on a quest, or when you go on. I mean, I guess you were afraid by perhaps being by yourself for 3 days in the middle of nowhere. I mean, it brings a lot of emotions.
For sure. And I think that's another common thing around rites of passage. None of this can be done in a casual way, right? You cannot walk the fire casually. You can't just take plant medicine. You can't, it's not the point. The point is to bring the fullness of who you are at that moment. And I think with that also there's a humbleness, right? We go through life and do our thing, and then boom, we hit this time of transition, and that's
Mm,
and we become humbled by life, right? We fall ill, we become humbled, we lose someone, it's like
yeah,
boom. um
yeah.
and
There
so,
is
so we bring
another,
that humbled self to the ceremony, and that
yeah,
opens us up, that opens us up to change, to grow, to evolve in our soul journey.
yeah. There is another rite of passage which is really interesting. It's the tattoo,
Yes. Do you want to share
because
a bit about your shamanic tattoo?
yeah. I mean, I all my tattoos are shamanic tattoos. So one or a piece is was unpacked. So it was 6 days of trance. And the other one we met together in Poland with a lot of it was a lot of yeah, ritual and ceremony around that. And it was also, I mean, it's, as we say, when you do a shamanic tattoo, the tattoo is already there, it just revealed.
Mm.
So that's something. And you give your body. I didn't know what I would have, and I ended up my back completely tattoo from the wrist to the ankle. I mean, and the first time I got my tattoo in my neck, I was a director in a bank. Yeah, and you can't miss my tattoo. It's just impossible. So, but it was also, I didn't know. I needed to say that's me. That's I affirm myself as a shaman in a bank. And that was exactly what it was. And I had, of course, reaction. And but it it requires so much trust, because you still give your body.
So there's trust, and what you can gain is the empowerment. So it's trust, but also a commitment, and yeah, you really have to step in. You know, that's something about rites of passage. You have to step
Yeah,
in,
yeah,
and
yeah.
and ultimately it is a form of alchemy, isn't it? A form of transmutation in that liminal space, you know,
Mm.
just like, and often like snake shedding, you know, in that rite of passage, very often it's also something gets burned away, gets shed,
Yeah.
and we come out like snake in our new, often very tender, we are in a tender space afterwards. I
Mm.
mean, you literally, after the tattoo, you had to tend to your skin for 3 weeks very tenderly. But any, you know, any rite of passage.
And and you have to meet your new ally, because I mean, a shamanic tattoo come with a new ally,
Yeah,
and with the spirit of your tattoo. I
yeah,
mean,
there's real aftercare to be done, right?
yeah,
After.
exactly. You meet someone new, you're gonna live with them for your whole life. So what does that mean to embody that? And yeah, so I mean, yeah, that's really something.
And when we were preparing, or talking about it, I was thinking, well, what were times when I was really missing rite of passage? Now this is like at the core of my work. I feel so passionate about it. I love taking people through these deep processes, and for me it's like, again, an alchemy of everything I've learned in my life, coming from art therapy and shamanism and all of that. But um in my own life, I had so little growing up in terms of such guidance or such a space I could step in.
Mm.
And also, going through dissolution of civil partnership and breakup. And I'm thinking, yeah, there were friends and talks, but wow, I could have really done with a solidly held space and a ritual like that.
Yeah, we always create what we need, and we create always the medicine we need, and that's probably why we're here. And I
Why
I
do you
had
the
more
passion? Yeah.
initiation in my life. I really had lots of initiation, uh, and I looked for that my whole life. Shamanism came quite late in my life, but I entered very young the Freemasonry, which is full of rites, full of rites of passage, and but that was probably not my path. It was easy for my brain to still trick me. I needed something more physical to just bring me somewhere probably stronger. Uh, and and then I had a lot of initiation, what we said about Tunisia. When I was in Tunisia during the revolution, during the Arabic Spring, and something happened. And I mean, our generation didn't know war, and I was in the middle of a war, and I had to act. And so that was like an initiation, knowing myself in another way. Uh, but and I had to integrate it as I could. But I would have loved to have someone who could take me by my hand and say, okay, you leave that. What will you do with that? How it's gonna change you, and how will you transmute that? And yeah, only in the past few years that I understood all those experiences.
Mm. That
So I'm really happy now to be able to offer that kind of space for people, because I can value how much it's important for them.
that's so
To,
powerful, and make me think of, a lot of, yeah, trauma or powerful things we go through. And even sometimes we work through things one to one in therapy or whatever, and that can be, of course, really, really healing and important. But again, to have something like that acknowledged in a bigger container of a community ritual, or where we truly witnessed. And yeah.
so tomorrow lunchtime,
Right.
you enter the witch. So it's gonna be the only rule is bring your cup of coffee and
Tea
and
or brew.
yeah, exactly. And the idea is to bring some tools. I mean, we have so many tools that we use um, as practitioner. We use a lot of tools. It could be divination, it could be oracle, it could be journaling, it could be so many things. And we want to experience that in a laboratory. So you bring some
You bring a question or
yeah, bring
anything where you might be stuck,
depression
or
or anything that
anything.
happened to you right now, or you're in a threshold, and you say, ah, I'm here. Okay, let's take one tool and see what the tool wants to say. And it's going to be a 45 minutes, and it won't be recorded. It just it will be I mean, everything that stay here, I mean, exist here, stay there.
Will be a laboratory.
Fair enough.
Exactly.
Okay, that's good. What time is that tomorrow?
12:15 till 1.
Okay, let's see what we can do.
So thank you, and I hope to see you next week.
Yeah.
Lovely. Yeah, that sounds great.
Spread the word.
Lovely. Certainly will. Yeah, no problem. All right.
Take care.
Bye.
See you.